announcements.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Box, the exciting show where we open a box and decide if the box rocks or if it's a box full of rocks.
I don't know if this is going to be a good episode.
This pillow is fucking useless shirt.
Yeah.
Grid is live. Initiate.
Excellent!
I'm not interrupting anything, am I?
Bogus.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Kind of a DeLorean?
My name's Norman Bates.
Oh, man, I'm so excited. I'm in, Bonnie.
Merry Christmas, movie house!
We came, we saw, we kicked his ass.
I'm just not the hero type, clearly.
Everything's under control. Situation normal.
Oh, well. Let me go in and say hi.
Hail to the king, baby.
Do.
Well, that's one way to do it. Oh, God. Here we go again. Really, Sean? You had to do the Godzilla Hanna-Barbera theme again? This is how we get copyright stricken, by the way. Well, hi everyone. Welcome to the Unwind. It's Tuesday, not Sunday. That's weird. But we're here. We're here to talk all about Godzilla vs. Kong, and with me, as always, is a lovely panel of wonderful lovelies. First, Maxwell. Hi, Maxwell.
Hello.
And then, of course, we have Chris Clark, Kong extraordinaire.
What's up, guys? This is going to be fun talk.
And then, I guess Sean is here.
I guess Sean.
I'm a worm scientist.
This is going so well already. Well, I mean, look. We're here to talk about Godzilla vs. Kong, but first of all, Maxwell, do we have anything else coming up that we need to talk about?
A couple things. Tomorrow night, there is no Suddenly soundtracks, and that's okay. But Thursday, Front Center Mez is back with our special guest, Andrew Kober. Andrew has been on Broadway in shows such as Hair, Les Miserables, She Loves Me, School of Rock, etc. He's awesome. He has great stories. I love him. I'm really looking forward to talking with him. He's basically the Broadway equivalent of a character actor. And I think it's going to be a super, super fun conversation. That'll be Thursday. Then Friday, April continues with a watch-along of, I think, a movie we all love that is connected to what we're talking about tonight, Kong Skull Island.
Yay.
Yeah.
Available on HBO Max. Dope movie. I know that on Friday there is a huge Schmodown pay-per-view event with Kevin Smith versus Stacy, and then Merle versus Collins 2. So we're going to probably start the watch-along later. I would say tentatively 11 p.m. Eastern, but we will know more as it gets closer and we see how long the pay-per-view goes. Saturday, of course, is our water cooler chat. This still says episode 2. My bad. We'll be talking about episodes 3 and 4 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Of course, Sunday night is our Unwind. That'll be fun. Next Tuesday, we got Book Nook episode 3. We were doing a crossover event with Danny Ramirez's show, Watch the Book. So myself and Dwayne will be joined by Danny Ramirez, where we're going to talk about both the book and the film, Never Let Me Go. It's one of my favorite books of all time. I'm also a huge fan of the film. We'll break down both. We'll compare and contrast. It's going to be a great, great show. We do have a TeePublic shop. We have some new merch, as you can see here. This MHCN shirt being beautifully modeled by this very handsome man. Go ahead and get one for yourself or check out all of our merch that we have available. Thursday nights, we do Ramble on Movies with Dan and Eric. And I'd like to take this opportunity to announce a new show that we have coming to the network. But I'm going to hand it over to Sean.
All right. So next Friday, there will be no watch-along. Tell your friends, tell everyone you know, there's a new show coming to the PJCN. We're not sure the regularity. Normally it will be pre-taped, but we're going to premiere it with a special live event. Now, this show is going to be a first for our community, for this space, and for the Pajukan. It of course will be hosted by Maxwell and myself, but we're going to have a special guest throughout the whole thing. This special guest is a very eligible bachelorette, and we are going to
attempt to
set her up with one of 30 eligible bachelors, including names such as Robert Adams, Brian Avalosino, David Biscuits, Jake Iacovetta, our very own Chris Clark. We might see Ralph, Bador, Justin Hamilton, Eric Zipper. Who knows? But April 16th, Maxwell, throw it up there. Show Me Naughty.
Show Me Naughty.
Where we try to find love for our good friend Rachel Silvestrini. 30 bachelors, lots of surprises,
and
premiere
one
episode, April 16th.
And Chris Clark, why are you the dark horse in this race?
Well, I just found this out now. Now I have to go to the thrift store and find myself a sexy ass suit.
Yeah, you're gonna have to buy a suit, Chris.
I'm gonna look like the sexy, beefy Italian that I fucking am. Yeah. So
EJ, what's the shirt, buddy?
Darkman today. Darkman.
I thought it was Ghost Rider.
I would like to talk about one other thing before we get started, and that is, of course, we have a Patreon. Check it out, see if there's a tier that's right for you. And as always, a huge thanks to our patron producers, our executive producers, Brandy Parker, Brandon Buckingham, and Ricardo Franco, our gold producers, Sean Wingblade and Mike Kay, and our producers, Stephen White, the youth critic, Bador, Jake Berlin, Anton Pudra, Tyler Birch, Patricia Carriel, Chris Porkanoy, She-Ra Potato, the illustrious Molly Damon, Beth Harris, Ferris Muthana, and quiz show himself, Jeff Alterman. Thank you all for your continued support. We could not do this without you.
You know, whenever I see that Patreon screen, I feel like there's a long underscore before Mike K.
It's that's just what's on the screen.
I know, but it takes me a minute. Hey, so we saw a movie.
We did.
We all saw a movie.
We saw a movie. We saw a movie with big fucking monsters.
This is true. Like that one right there.
We saw a movie with a big lizard and a big gorilla. And here to talk about it is William Bibiano. We all loved it.
Yes,
we all loved it. I think this film is universally loved, with a few detractors. PJ, you take over. You do your thing. I don't know why I'm talking.
Look, you decided to start talking, but yes, we are talking about the Adam Wingard directed Godzilla vs. Kong, which is the fourth film in the overarching Monsterverse, if as it were called, from Legendary Pictures.
What's up, PLD?
Hello, PLD. PLD just missed our wonderful announcement.
PLD, we announced Show Me Naughty officially, finally, to the masses. And in case you missed it, I'll show it one more time. Show Me Naughty with Rachel Silvestrini. April 16th is the premiere. Don't miss it.
Okay.
So we're talking about the Monsterverse here tonight.
We are.
And I'm very excited because the most interesting thing for me is this is 7 years after Godzilla opened out in 2014. And I remember when they originally announced it, Gareth Edwards, rather, not Gareth Evans, different directors. They had said that he was going to do a trilogy. But quickly he was shuffled off because Legendary got a different idea. And they decided that they wanted to do a Kong Godzilla film on the modern budget with the modern techniques and filmmaking quality that you can. And a lot of us thought this was a joke. How can you do another Kong versus Godzilla? No one really wants to see that. Lo and behold, not only, my friends, have they done it, we've seen it, and it is spectacular.
It is.
Yeah.
It is brilliant. It is life-giving.
I'll start with Maxwell. What were your thoughts, my friend?
Okay. If we are going to take an intellectual and artistic approach to this movie, it is riddled with flaws.
Mm-hmm.
There are logic discrepancies. There are certain plot elements that make no sense or that piss me off. There are character arcs that could use some work. However, as a exercise in 2 hours of pure spectacle, it is some of the most fun, the most well-directed, and the most, just bombastically and beautifully put together action blockbusters I've seen in a long time. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I thought it was so fun. And we'll get into it, but I appreciated how well lit it was, how the choreography of the battles was thrilling. I thought Junkie XL's score was next level good. The cinematography is stunning. So, I'm choosing to go with my fun here and ignoring the rest of it because I believe that a movie sets out to achieve a certain thing. And this movie generally achieves what it sets out to do. And I find it because of that, it's easy to ignore some of the stuff that in other movies may piss me off. So that's where I'm at.
You're 100% right. And one of the things that's always so interesting to me, just in general, is that when the discourse around movies like this is always so fascinating. Because I feel like some people want these movies to be more than they are when the movie sets out to be the thing that it is. And sometimes it's better to just take the thing at its face value. Hello, Brandy. Versus saying it needs to be this thing that I put into a box that I want it to be. And real quick, I just saw that Eddie Haskell, our friend Ed Haskell, he was tweeting at us that MonsterVerse has comics and books. I am aware. I've been collecting all the stuff that Legendary has been doing since the beginning. They have put out comics since the original. This was the prequel to the 2014. We got the Kong one. There was a Aftermath one from King of the Monsters. I am a huge fan of everything Legendary does. And one of the coolest things about Legendary is because they are also a comic company, so many of their movies come with comics that go with it.
I will say this. My dream, and I think we share this, is Pacific Rim versus Godzilla versus Kong.
Yes. And I think it's a very real possibility at this point. It is not lost on me, and we will probably get into this, that towards the end of the film, they are 100% using drift-like technology that was first seen in Pacific Rim. This is for spoiler film.
Well, it is a spoiler.
Oh, yeah. Guys, look, if you haven't seen this film, and you want to know, and if you haven't seen this film and you're wondering, does the Pajukan think we should watch this film? The answer to that question is yes.
Yeah.
If you're watching this thinking, man, I can't wait to hear their spoiler-free thoughts on a movie where a gorilla fights a lizard, you're in the wrong spot. Because, look, here's the plot of the movie. Gorilla get axe. Well, here's the plot of the movie. All right? The plot of the movie is monkey fight gorilla, monkey lose to gorilla, gorilla get axe, monkey fight lizard again, lizard beat gorilla, lizard and gorilla fight giant robot.
Yep, and gorilla defeats giant robot because somebody spilled a drink over a keyboard. It's this.
Yeah,
this,
I mean, Chris,
yeah.
I'm glad you can admit that the only way he could have beaten giant robot was with help.
We'll get into that, but I want to just say that watching this film for the first time felt like nothing short of a roller coaster. It felt like a fun ride, a fun 2-hour ride, and I got to see Kong on screen again. Not technically, I saw it for the first time on HBO Max, but you get to see a new story with, believe it or not, I know Godzilla has had all these movies. Kong has maybe had 10. His franchise is far from as big as Godzilla's is, and it's always nice and emotional for me to see Kong on screen. And what they did, and I think what Max actually said was right. This movie knew what it set out to do. There was a bunch of check boxes it needed to check, and it checked all of them. It didn't check more than that. And I don't think the general audience needed that. I personally would have wished they did. But it's a fun film that I feel like is very digestible. You can watch over and over and over again and still find the same enjoyment from it. And you're still emotionally connected to Godzilla and Kong, especially Kong. He needs that human interaction, and the stuff that he had with the little girl, which we will get into. All of Kong's human emotional stuff is what grounded the film and was where it truly, truly succeeded.
Now, Chris, tell me, if you could have a certain box checked, what boxes did you want checked from this movie that you didn't get?
Okay, well, what I didn't get? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
you needed more development with Monarch. Because look, in Kong Skull Island, it really cements the fact that John Goodman and Corey's character, his name escapes me right now from the moment. They too were talking about Hollow Earth. The reason why they blew into Skull Island and raised up the Skull Crawlers and got killed by Kong was because they discovered Hollow Earth in Skull Island. They found out that the ground, so they discovered it. I kind of wish in this movie they delved more into the history of these monsters. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but I kind of wanted more history and more lore around everything instead of it feeling like going from point A to point B to point C to point D to get these two guys fighting. Have a little bit more stuff behind that to make that stuff even more impactful. It's a great film, but you could have had extra cheese on top of the pot. I hope that makes sense.
Now, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Now, Chris.
Yeah.
Based upon the metaphor that you just used, I wonder, have you ever found a pot in your experience that has too much cheese?
Well, you mean too much stuff going on?
No, I literally mean
a
pot with too much cheese.
Yeah, was there a pie in your life that had way too much cheese once?
Well, if you can't taste the sauce and you just taste the cheese, it becomes dry. I guess if that's what you mean. But I do think though that this could have had a little bit more oomph to it. Now I did buy the novelization, and we'll get into that too about what is not in the film. But I don't think anything from that really detracts from the fact that this is a fucking fun film, and it's really fun, and it makes everybody happy, and that's what it sets out to do. I just wish it did a little bit more than that and brought back in a couple things from Skull Island, because you did get John Goodman's cameo in the title sequence, and you got that callback to it. But I wish more things from Skull Island kind of echoed in this film, like maybe a returning character or something. Yeah,
Chris, here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that Mama Bruschetta should have used a more moist mozzarella, maybe a fresh mozzarella di bufala, something that,
I think they really could have enhanced it with a little provolone on top, like shredded.
But I hope what I'm saying is making sense. I'm not knocking the film. I just wish.
No. What you're saying absolutely makes sense. However, I want to strike back on one point. I do think we did get some history on the monsters here because
we got some.
We got. I think. What is this? If this is a 5-act film, I think Act 4 of this film was the history of the monsters. Right? We got the genetic memory and the. What's the term? Not genetic memory, but
talking about Ghidorah's thing.
No. With where Kong knows where to go.
Yes,
right?
Yes, with his history of his ancestors and the alley.
And we get, because I'm a big show not tell, right? Like,
yeah,
I think this movie did a good job of showing and not telling the monsters' histories. The fact that the axe is made from a spine from Godzilla.
Oh, because it's an ancient rivalry.
Godzilla, right? I think that does a good job of telling the history. But Haskell points out a good thing here. Serizawa had a son? And why the fuck is Serizawa's son working for Apex, a company that apparently wants to kill Godzilla when Serizawa saved Godzilla's life?
Because he felt like he was pushed away to the side by the monsters by his dad.
What's sad is that that's not really developed in... They don't even mention his last name really that much. They don't even make note of it. I feel like that's also something that you could have done something with. Like, that's really tragic. The whole motivation is he's trying to get back at Godzilla probably for killing his dad. At the end of the day, Godzilla is the reason his dad died. And if something killed your dad, maybe that's a good motivation. Go for it, PJ.
Oh, I was going to say, I agree with you. And I think the one thing I walked away from in the movie more than anything is I felt like the Monarch especially kind of got shafted in general in the film just to get to the shorter runtime of 150 minutes, which is fine. I still enjoy the movie. But Kyle Chandler definitely got pushed to the side. Lance Reddick, as it was just mentioned in the same comment, who had more footage that was cut out of the movie. He was the head of Monarch. Like, a lot of that stuff, and the Serizawa stuff especially, where I think that the one thing the MonsterVerse hasn't done incredibly well overall is kind of lay the groundwork of why certain characters are important and where they end up through the timelines.
There's not
because
much
like
of a connection with the humans to that regard.
Who?
I was gonna say, because Corey Hawkins in Kong Skull Island, his character reappears in King of the Monsters, played by Joe Morton.
Not nowhere to be seen.
And
in this film.
they don't really say anything about it. So.
He's actually, the comic you actually just showed up is Kingdom Kong. It actually is supposedly supposed to explain his backstory and what happens, why he's not in this film. So I need to read through. But I do want to say that in the novelization, not get much of the father relationship with his son Ren. Serizawa. You do not get that. It's actually just a little bit there's actually just dialogue in there, and it doesn't really go through that much. The whole monarch stuff, unless they shot something differently, I can completely see why, according to the novelization, it was cut. Yeah, but
I'll say this.
Go for it.
I think as the movie is structured, it works. It's coherent. Yeah. However, I have also rarely seen a movie before where it was so clear that a lot was cut out.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's that big of a problem because, again, this movie has clear goals, and I think it accomplishes its goals. But there are, like Lance Reddick, which Ed brought up in the chat. Excuse me. I remember seeing his name in the opening credits, and I got really excited because I love Lance from Fringe, The Wire, Bosch. Huge fan. The John Wick movies.
Yep.
He's in one scene and has like 2 lines of dialogue.
And
he is, he's not a superstar, but he is a notable performer. He has.
You notice him. You recognize him. When
he's recognizable. He has a big career. And so the fact that like the little things like that are like, okay, there's clearly stuff missing here. Again, I don't think it necessarily detracted from beginning, middle, and end of the movie. But there are things that, could have been more fleshed out. But I think there's something nice about keeping it under 2 hours and focusing on the fighting, especially after you've had 3 prior movies of build-up. Yeah, and those movies really built up these 2 characters, these 2 titans, the lore of them. So you didn't necessarily need all of that stuff. However, I would like to see it. If it was shot, I would love... I'm not saying like release the Wingard cut. I'm just saying put some deleted scenes on the Blu-ray. That's it.
Stuff.
That's it.
And if a fan decides to make a fan edit later down the line, I'll watch it because there's quite a few fan edits that take the deleted scenes and stuff.
I want to talk about a criticism that has been prevalent with a lot of these MonsterVerse movies, and I've seen it a lot with this one. And I want to refute it a little bit, or why I don't necessarily disagree with it or agree with it. It's been said time and time again since this movie came out last week that the monster action is great and the human characters suck, so why even bother? Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the human characters in this movie are amazing or great characters. But I have 2 points. The first is that I think the work that this movie does to humanize Kong and give him a full emotional arc really makes him the lead character of the movie. And although he's not a human, he's obviously a giant gorilla. Any emotional center you need...
But hold on. Aren't we all just giant gorillas persisting?
Yeah. I do want to say, though, to Max's point, is that Kong needs that emotional ground. Everything with Kong is his emotional connection to humans. And what they did with Kong and the little girl, that was phenomenal.
Right, so that's what I was going to get to next. My second point was that I would argue that the relationship between Kong and the young girl who is deaf is, of all of these MonsterVerse movies, probably the most touching thing in any of them. I was so taken by this character, by her relationship with Kong, by the fact that Kong could sign and they communicate. I thought it was such a beautiful emotional center or arc for the film that really won me over. And again, the facial expressions, the journey Kong goes on was enough for me to latch onto in character growth. Godzilla in this movie is a secondary character. He's mostly antagonist. He doesn't really have an arc, and that's okay.
You don't need that.
Kong is the main character of this movie. It's not Alexander Skarsgård. It's not Brian Tyree Henry or Millie Bobby Brown. Kong is the main character.
You would say something?
Yeah, I think you're 100% right too. Yes. And I think it's so interesting that they do portray Kong as the protagonist in this, and yet Godzilla is the one that ultimately wins that bout, right?
Yes, he does, because in fact of the matter is, it's probably the most realistic way to go. Like, there's no, yeah.
And they do a good. I'm sorry, I just have so many thoughts with this the whole like setup for Kong being our central. Because Max, you're 100% right. Like, Kong has facial expressions, and
he's like a lead dog in like a dog film. It's like the lead animal. It's you're always rooting for that.
It's like the time Harrison Ford dressed up in a dog suit. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think actually I like the fact Kong lost, and he didn't lose just once; he lost twice, and I loved that, because had he had that victory over Godzilla, you don't have that emotional impact of that final act. Had he won both times, or he had won one and he won one, you just wouldn't have had that emotion around Kong and everybody rooting for Kong. I feel like with him losing both times, and especially the second time, where he at least killed Mechagodzilla and gave him that victory. And when he has that victory, that's a huge standing ovation moment. And he does not have that if he wins. And I feel I feel him losing needed to happen for the film to actually succeed the way it did. I
think they sell it really well too. With after that fight, Kong just slumped at the end against a building. Like that to me is what sells that whole thing too. Is like, it's beautiful. Man, he's fucking out.
Well, this is actually an interesting point. So in the chat, Ed is saying how he would have written it so that Alexander Skarsgård's character was John Goodman's character's son.
That would have been amazing.
That's actually pretty smart.
Yeah.
Because I think Alexander is a really compelling actor. I liked him in this movie. I think they lost some of the emotional connection because like we never saw or knew his brother. They were just telling us instead of showing us stuff. Yeah. But I still thought he was pretty solid. And I liked his character. He did his job.
He was a good discount Chris Pratt.
Yeah. I feel like though
I kept getting a very Chris Pratt vibe from him. Like that's who they wanted to cast in this film, and he couldn't do it.
Yeah. I
disagree.
But I kind of like Alexander Skarsgård more than Chris Pratt overall.
I do too.
Now, the other human character I really want to talk about is Brian Tyree Henry.
Oh, that whole thing is great.
Now,
loved him.
I thought he was
the ending of that whole storyline.
Fantastic. I thought his character was so compelling, and funny and weird and charming, and I like that he was a conspiracy theorist. I thought the podcast aspect was like perfect for our time, and then the fact that he teamed up with Millie Bobby Brown's character from the prior film was really smart. I loved their exploration of Acme. I thought that scene where they like find the skull crawlers in that like egg thing, and then they travel all the way to Hong Kong was really cool. And Max, I'm so in. Yeah.
Is this a Looney Tunes film?
It felt like it a little bit, kind of.
A little bit, yeah.
No, but you said the exploration of Acme.
What was it called?
Apex.
Acme. Who cares? It's all bullshit.
Might as well be the same.
Who cares?
That's Mechagodzilla's. Instead of a breath weapon, Mechagodzilla drops anvils on people.
Yeah. Okay, so they explore Apex. They find the skull crawlers. They travel under the ground all the way to Hong Kong. And I'm like, this is awesome. They're going to get to witness the big final fight. I think they're going to be really heroic and help Godzilla and Kong defeat Mechagodzilla. And then, dear viewers,
the worst part of the film, in my opinion,
they pour some liquid on a computer.
Yeah,
you know what? And that now, whole scene too.
In all of my years of watching blockbuster cinema, this may be the single laziest scene I've ever seen.
And I want to just say that it makes no fucking sense because at that is disconnected from the system.
Yeah, he wasn't even connected anymore.
He wouldn't have been affected by that.
There are so many other things that could. I loved this trio. I thought they were so fun. There's so many other things they could have done to give them this heroic moment. And they pour water on a computer, and I rolled my eyes so hard.
Because it
wait, Maxwell, it wasn't water. It was alcohol. Because remember, he was going to die sober.
The fact that it had an emotional tie to the woman that he lost, the whole thing was like, this is my look.
Okay. Yeah, it was an eye roll for me too, and it kind of did rob Kong from his victory.
All right, I'm gonna give that scene credit for one thing.
Go for it, Charlie. Give it credit.
And excuse me, I don't know Russell's name, so I'm just gonna go ahead and call him Fire Fist.
Fire Fist.
When Fire Fist says, "Oh, if I could figure out the password," and I went, "How the fuck is this kid gonna figure out the password to a multi-billion-dollar corporation that built a giant mechanical lizard?" And I was so happy that he didn't.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, actually. I thought that was brilliant.
Although
because
I do like that
wait,
it was...
I thought you said you went to summer camp or you worked on computers. He's like, it was summer camp. And he's like, I'm in high school.
I learned HTML.
Yeah.
I do like that it was Julian Dennison. Honestly, I was fully aware of everyone in this movie except for him.
Mm-hmm. I was shocked when Firefish showed up.
I kind of love that these movies keep finding roles with him because he's not a usual type of actor. They keep letting him use his New Zealand accent. He had his big breakout in Taika Waititi's Hunt for the Wilder People, and then, of course, he was in Deadpool 2. So to see him getting these roles in these big movies is fun, and I thought he was very fun.
Yeah. I actually thought that his presence here was really great, and I really liked him and Millie Bobby Brown together. I thought they had a fun chemistry, and even the stuff with him and Brian Tyree Henry, who I think is such good casting in this, by the way. And the three of them are actually... We're seeing a lot of trios right now in film and television. Like if you watch WandaVision or if you're watching Falcon and Winter Soldier, we're getting all these little trio groups. I kind of dig this one a lot. I'm going to be honest with you.
Totally.
Like, the three of them were fun.
Totally.
Patrick, then I have good news. I'm going to pitch you my pitch for the three of them in the reboot of Caravan of Courage and Ewok Adventure.
Oh, that would
perfect. Let's go.
Great.
Brian Tyree Henry. Brian Tiny Henny. Brian Tiny Henny.
Yes,
taking
he was
for Brimley's spot.
Yeah,
he was the villain.
Yeah.
They brought a lot of good.
There's my pitch, Pat. Take it, run with it.
I'm giving you producer credit when we get it made.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say that. Yeah, go for it.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead. No.
Go for it.
You first. I was just going to say, so we're talking about, obviously, that was easily the worst part of the movie was that it was very lazy. It was we're just trying to get to the end now. How can we do this? Thankfully, that is really the only part of the movie where I'm like, this is dumb. Like, let's move on. Because the rest of this movie, for what it is fun as fuck and so dumb in the best way. And that's what I appreciate because, look, King of the Monsters, I really enjoyed also, and it was like the very serious version of doing a $200 billion
PJ,
monster movie.
Please DM.
Oh, I see him. I
got you. You guys
Jesse,
relax.
we're DMing you the link right now, buddy.
Keep talking. I got Jesse. I already didn't respond to him for a week, so I might as well respond to him with this.
The thing I dig so much with this was that Adam Wingard was like, I'm going to make a multi-million-dollar midnight monster movie.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a fucking roller coaster.
I thought the best thing about this movie was the tone. I thought Adam nailed the tone.
Yes.
And also that, we've seen a lot of movies over the last 15 years with giant climactic battles, whether it be superheroes or kaiju or aliens. And a lot of them inevitably take place at night. And it's hard to see because they use shitty lighting as an excuse to hide shitty CGI.
Right.
The lighting in this Hong Kong sequence with all the neon candy-colored buildings and then the way the moonlight, it was so beautifully constructed, so easy to see. The fight choreography, the geography of it, everything made sense. For me, this movie is a technical triumph, and I would argue some of the best rendered CG we've seen in a long time.
And some of the best motion capture work we've seen, legitimately.
On a technical level, this movie kills it. It
does.
And I think it...
Yeah, and,
go ahead,
and
Chris,
I personally think the rubber suits, I could barely tell any of the seams or anything.
Oh, yeah. The gorilla suits were like this out of this world.
What I want to know about the gorilla suits is, considering the scale, how many men were in that one suit? At least three. At least three guys.
No, don't you know Godzilla is King Kong is stop motion. Godzilla's in a rubber suit.
Okay.
That
Okay.
Cool. That would
Okay.
be really cool.
Go ahead, Chris.
Kong was actually the entire model. If you look at him and you look at his face and you look at everything, he is based off of the 1933 Kong with the brown rabbit fur, and his face and everything and how he moves is essentially a nod to the 1933 Kong puppet.
I'm learning so much right now. Holy shit!
Now, PJ, would you like to introduce our surprise special guest?
Yes. So this gentleman made his debut in the movie Trivia Schmodown earlier this year. He is a massive fan of Tremors, which means he is near and dear to my heart. He is someone I've gotten the chance to hang out with quite a bit recently. Not only has he become one of my favorite personalities in this space, I am happy to say he is becoming one of my favorite people just to hang out with and a very close personal friend for this channel. His name is the Jackal, Jesse Swift.
Man, when you don't plan on crying and okay. Well, what's ironic and fun about this is I just had you on my channel talking about the same movie because
I know
the movie was so nice. Thought I'd talk about it twice.
There you go.
I was gonna say thanks for the invite, but
yeah. What were you gonna say?
So
I'm glad that you brought that up. I've been ignoring him for a week. I'm like, you sure have.
So I'm not ignoring. I don't intend to ignore. I just forget. And then I remember later.
Yes.
Sean, you never forget me.
No, Max, that's because, well, we'll talk later.
Okay, baby.
That was beautiful.
So, Jesse, you love this movie as much as us.
I'm a little. I don't know exactly where you guys are at because I was just on Schmo Me the Money, and the first thing I did was go to my YouTube subscriptions, and I see you guys are live. I was like, oh fuck, let's see if I can muscle my way out of here.
Did you win?
Did I win? No, it was my first time in there, and as to be expected. Thank you so much. We actually, because of these guys, I just hit my 100. So anticipate a party here soon. Yes, we got there. But I was going against Paul Preston and Ferris didn't, put up too bad of a fight. But Preston, you expect Preston to do Preston stuff, and so I was very impressed by him.
Preston actually convinced me that somehow. Oh, go ahead, Maxwell.
I say Preston is nothing if not a loquacious motherfucker. So trying to talk against him is a losing battle.
Remember the time he came on our channel and blamed us for the coronavirus?
He did.
That's what I was going to say. He convinced me that the PJCN was the reason for Corona, and I'm having a hard time refuting it now.
And I don't want to derail you guys, but I'll leave you with this. They were giving him points because he used his 10-second mute to continue eating his boneless chicken wings.
So I would just like to make note of the language you just used and said, you said, I don't want to derail you guys. So this is a special edition of our show, The Unwind. The literal tagline of The Unwind is where we're going, we don't need rails.
Oh.
So you can derail us as much as you want.
Yeah.
Can I rail you as much as
I don't know you that well yet, but give me a call and we'll talk.
You open that.
I'm open. Slide into my DMs.
Oh, God.
Is this my
fantastic.
No, okay. At first I was like, is this my debut on the PJ? But it's not because I was here for the celebration for a minute. Right?
Yeah, you were.
Yes, I was. When Mark was telling me he loved me on Ted Lasso.
Yes.
Yes.
By the way, congratulations on your SAG award the other night.
Yeah.
You're not gonna congratulate me on Olivia Wilde?
You broke up with her.
Oh, that was my first mistake.
Yeah.
And home run.
So where were we talking about the monkey and the Godzilla thingy?
We were talking about how much we love this film.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We're talking about how it was a technical
Does
triumph.
anyone else want to punch drywall after watching this? Because I sure as hell did. Yes.
Are you talking about the ending with the liquid on the keyboard and how Mechagodzilla goes down?
No, I think he was excited and like.
No, I'm just saying this movie is Kyle in like inject into my blood vein.
Oh, that's what
Yeah. It's like when you watch Creed and you're all of a sudden you're like, I could box too. Put me in the ring. I could be there.
I should learn to box.
When I was a kid and I saw Three Ninjas and then the lobby, I kicked my dad in the face. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Three Ninjas is criminally underrated.
I agree.
I don't disagree with that.
Rob Schneider is a ninja.
Don't get me started on Three Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain. Don't get me started.
I won't. Let's not go there.
Let's not.
All right, it's fine. Say we didn't. Speaking of Kong versus Godzilla, so I think going into this movie, Kong Skull Island was my favorite so far.
Oh yeah,
and
join us, David,
in the house.
The link is in the chat. Join us.
And then,
not this chat, David. The other chat that you're a part of.
Yeah,
I think this might be pure spectacle-wise, and just like how much I felt it in my heart and soul. This might be my favorite legendary monster movie. And
make that argument.
I'm sorry to say, like Pacific Rim didn't click with me. Not to say it's a bad movie. It just didn't. It's not. I don't. It's. I watched it, and I said, "This is impressive." Pacific Rim falls under the Mad Max category for me, where I'm very impressed by it, but it's not. I didn't feel it.
I'm
My
with you
heart
on that.
hurts so bad.
I'm with you on that as far as Mad Max goes. I've only seen Pacific Rim one time. The second time I was supposed to watch it, well.
Let's travel back. Let's travel back to August of 2020.
June.
June of 2020.
It might have been August.
Let's travel
Poor
back.
Jesse doesn't know.
To summer of 2020. And
is
here
it the
on
same thing
PJ
I was doing in the theater when I watched 2009 Star Trek, or is it different?
Here on the PJ Campbell
this is
Network,
different.
we had a double feature watch along scheduled of Godzilla 98 and Pacific Rim. About halfway through the first of the double feature, we received the news that Chadwick Boseman had died.
Oh.
And thus, we immediately canceled the show and did not make it to Pacific Rim.
Appropriate.
So one could also say that alongside the coronavirus, we here at the PJ Campbell Network killed Chadwick Boseman.
I was gonna say Roland Emmerich killed Chadwick.
Roland Emmerich. Well, I mean, he's killed enough shit already. Why not add Chadwick to that list?
Who do you think is a more
bad
offensive director? Here you go. The real Sophie's choice here: Paul W.S. Anderson or Roland Emmerich.
Roland Emmerich. He gave me Stargate.
Okay.
Easiest answer.
Yeah,
but the question was more offensive director.
Yeah.
Paul W.S. Anderson is more offensive.
Paul W.S. Anderson. Yes.
Yeah.
Because he didn't give me Stargate.
Nor did he give me Independence Day, but he also gave me Resident Evil 34.
And he gave us Independence Day 2, which is also so.
Ooh.
I just remembered Independence Day 2 exists.
Crapshoot.
Yeah. I'm still sticking with Emmerich as my guy as the least offensive because he didn't destroy Resident Evil.
Were you guys in a particular plot point of the movie, or are you just spitballing everywhere? Because okay. So the part where Kong punched Godzilla is pretty sick, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that first fight actually in the whole Navy base is probably my favorite fight in the entire film. I like the thing in Hong Kong, but I think the one on the sea is the best.
Yeah, what's everyone's favorite moment from this film? Because I have a definite moment that I will remember for the rest of my life.
My favorite was when...
Go ahead, Chris.
Like specific, like not scene, but like moment.
He says home, and everybody realized that he can speak. That's my favorite.
But such a nice moment.
I admitted to PJ that I cried during this movie, so that's the thing that actually happened. And that
Kong's
was it.
relationship with that girl was the most beautiful thing in the entire movie.
Everyone says that all the humans are throwaways, but I was like, not entirely.
Nothing with Kong is throwaway. Nothing with Kong is throwaway.
It's almost like things aren't black and white and not a gray area.
Yeah. I think people are just so used to saying monster movie, throw away the humans. I was like, this is actually, I feel like the most effort they've put in other than Skull Island, maybe, but probably more so than, I don't know.
Oh, Skull Island I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry.
I was going to say, my moment in this film
Now, Sean's perfect Sunday.
My perfect Sunday is going to be a nice, like a cinnamon dulce froyo, okay, with a bit of Jif peanut butter, or Gif peanut butter if you prefer.
No.
Okay,
that's not how that works.
My moment in this film is when Godzilla is crawling on all fours, chasing after Kong, as Kong is desperately trying to get away.
I want because one of my favorite moments is I want the GIF. What's the debate here?
By God.
What?
Alex
Marzonia!
Yeah, Marzonia, we love you.
We love you, buddy.
What's up, Alex?
What's going on, Alex? Fantastic. How highly appropriate.
Oh, we should tell Alex, since Alex is here. I don't mean to cut you off, Jesse. Alex,
No, you
you
do,
should
though.
tune in. You should tune in.
Oh, yes. If
Friday
you
the
missed it-
16th, Alex.
Oh my god.
For Show Me Naughty. The first Pajukan dating show. Starring Bachelorette Rachel
30
Silvestrini.
30 eligible bachelors will be going for a shot at love.
Is this
with the Rachel Silvestrini?
This is a real thing that's happening, Jesse.
This is me and Alex's first interaction. He's like, cut him off. Cut him off.
Hey, look, man.
My favorite moment is...
Cut him off. No.
I like when characters team up. So my favorite moment is when Godzilla uses his atomic breath to charge Kong's axe.
Oh, that's good.
So I absolutely...
Alex is coming in hot
Wait.
tonight.
Who's got the Schmobot voice? Marzonia says, "Who is he? Cut him off." Sends in $100.
I got nothing.
Oh, that was so good. That was so good.
When he supercharged the axe, I leaned over to my fiance and I said, "Power level at 400%."
Yeah,
100. I think that might have been close to my favorite moment, but my other was actually Reefism, was the Kong sitting on the throne. I called it Game of Kongs. I just thought that moment was so great and just made me so happy. And like the way the cameras like panned up on him, it looks epic.
Why haven't they released that poster?
That's a great question.
That'd be a great
We
poster.
love you. I miss you so much, Alex.
Alex, once again, we don't have a rail on this show.
Yeah, this is how this show is.
We're railless.
Yeah, it's all cool.
It literally says it right here. Where we're going, we don't need rails.
Nope. And if there's a giant monster in the
I
city,
felt it's the perfect show for me. Like, anytime you guys want to like invite me to just like
you're always
not have
allowed.
structure.
Sean, that was part of the logo refresh.
Oh.
So if we're here, I can just like sit and read while we're talking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a good book.
What's that you got there?
This would actually be the prequel, Godzilla Dominion for Godzilla vs. Kong.
Okay, can I tell
or
you the
if you
difference
like-
between... All right, here's the inaccuracy, though. That Godzilla is all muscle, whereas the one in the movie is an absolute beefcake. Like
Yeah, that looks kind of like this Daddy Godzilla right here.
Yeah.
Daddy Bod Godzilla.
Zaddyzilla.
Yeah.
Sweet Zaddyzilla. All right, so I think... No, they weren't even done. They weren't even done. That's actually why I lost. I saw you guys were streaming. I was like, all right,
Oh, what? Oh, cool. Hey, Jeff, we stole your guy.
Oh my god.
Whoopsies.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, I know I
love this
said I'd be
show
on your show,
so
but I'm going to
much.
go do this other show because they're talking about something I'd rather talk about. Bye.
Hey, Max, I'm going to let you finish. But my favorite moment actually was, I forgot.
And that, kids, is why you don't smoke weed.
He smoked
Or
too much
exactly
turtle
why you
weed, which is
smoke
bad for you, right?
Max, you
What?
smoke
That
weed
was-
all the time.
51st Dates. I see you. Yeah, see? This is why I get along with Jesse. Dude, how good is 51st Dates? Can we just talk about that for a second?
Really good.
We can talk about it for
51st Dates
way
is
more
so
than a
good.
second. I was having a quote off with one of my coworkers the other, just like we were just throwing like 150 first dates quotes back and forth.
That movie, of
criminally
all of
underrated.
Sandler's, is I think it might be my favorite. It's right up there, man.
It's
I think
it's easy
so
top
good.
3. And
Yeah.
the thing is, it's not just like it's not a good Adam Sandler movie. It's a good movie on its own.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it might be one of his best characters because he's not doing the
So-
funny voice and stuff. Like
I want
it's-
to give credit. So, for those who don't know, there is a novelization of this movie that came out. And Chris
51st
Clark.
Dates had a novelization.
I was just about to say.
No, Godzilla versus Kong. I'm bringing it
The
back.
true
Guys,
Henry
am I
Roth
alone?
story.
Am I alone in not loving 51st Dates?
Yes.
Apparently.
Yes.
Anyways. There is a novelization of Godzilla versus Kong, and our very own Chris Clark read it all in one day. So I would love to give you the opportunity, Chris, to talk a little bit about what's in the novelization that didn't make it into the movie.
Yeah.
And then, you often have to assume that the novelization is based on the shooting script, and then, stuff gets cut out that's not in the final film. So
I love when things are based on the shooting script.
Why? I thought you were gonna go more into detail.
Sean just killed the conversation.
I was taking shots at Patrick.
Oh, I stopped paying attention when he said he didn't like 50 First Dates.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Look, Jesse, I'll tell you what. When you want any advice about movies, never go to Sean.
You said you do all these watch-alongs and stuff. Can we get that going?
I think that's a great idea, actually.
I think it would probably just be you and me wheezing for like an hour and a half, right?
Yeah, probably. I'm okay with that. I know that Maxwell would watch with us, too.
Fantastic.
I would. I
Yeah.
sure would.
We
Now,
have
Chris.
derailed so much.
Yeah. Go for it, Max.
No,
Okay. Yeah.
I asked you a question you have yet to answer, so
Oh
answer.
yeah, yeah. So I did read through the entire novelization of Kong vs. Godzilla 2021, and it really is a different kind of story up until the final act. Kong doesn't appear for the first like 4 chapters. Just to put things into perspective, the entire book film opens with Godzilla fighting a giant
son of a
squid.
bitch. You fucking son of a bitch.
Continue, Chris.
Yeah, guys. It opens with a Godzilla, and it also opens up with Apex, and apparently there are protesters with Apex, and it actually goes through how they funded Mecha Godzilla. It does. Okay, and the whole relationship with Alexander Skarsgård's brother and him, they actually show the actual his death going into Hollow Earth, and they go through that entire emotional crux and that entire sequence with him and his brother and watching his brother die on impact, and that's all taking place at Skull Island. Was the first traveling into the center of the Earth. We also see the whole storm on Skull Island and Kong rescuing the little girl. That whole story plays out in the book. Godzilla tries to awaken the Titans to help against Apex. There's a whole sequence of him trying to go to the Titans and asking for help, and them flat out rejecting him and
That's
going back and
That would have been
rescuing.
dope.
So Godzilla had
Yeah.
a thought process?
Yeah,
Fascinating.
Interesting.
yeah. More explanation to the reason why Godzilla is going to come for Kong, and more lore. There's more lore behind.
Did you take notes, Chris?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I was just wondering what you were looking at.
Oh yeah, sorry.
He's got the book open. He's like,
I know, he's
well,
like-
you see.
No, I have stuff. It's all the notes I have for this. I'm just trying to do what I have with. And this is important. There's more interactions between Bobby Brown's character and her father, and the motivations behind why she's doing what she's doing, and her dad gradually. And this is what the whole Monarch story was. Her dad gradually realizing that his daughter was fucking correct. And that everything she was saying, and him also questioning Apex, and him questioning his authority, which is the guy that Max was talking about. The entire time he is acting like he was acting to her. So during this entire book, his superior is treating him like he was treating his daughter, and he is slowly realizing that Monarch is being stupid and not realizing what is actually going on with Apex. That's the biggest subplot that was cut. It's also described that Bernie, the engineer guy, but his wife got killed in a car accident. He blames Apex for that, and that is why he has a vendetta against Apex.
Is he Silas Stone?
Wait, what?
Is that the Warner Brothers crossover? Is that Silas Stone? Is that Bernie's?
I have no idea. But his
Joe
wife,
Morton was in King of the Monsters, though.
Yeah. And we also get Kong going. How they put Kong on the ship. There's a chapter dedicated to that. Monarch explaining Godzilla's path, realizing it was right, and then okay. And the biggest thing also is that once is that trio subplot never interacts with Kong. Never once mentions Kong. Never realizes that Kong is part of the entire thing. There's a sequence where they realize, oh shit, Kong is on the big screen, and they're rooting for Kong. The entire last act of the film is not changed, but I think the first portion of the film, which is human-centric.
Does the book have the same thing with the pouring the liquid on the computer?
The only difference to that is it shorts Mecha Godzilla out, but it doesn't completely short him out. So Kong does bring in the last blow. I think editing-wise, they made it look more like
a little bit, but I feel like everyone has portrayed it as like it completely shut him down, and I didn't see that. I think it caused a glitch.
Yeah,
like it caused him kind of like, and that was enough.
Yeah,
a hiccup at most.
Yeah. That's what I took.
Because in the novelization, it describes how he comes back on and then Kong rips everything up. I still don't think it was the strongest thing to do, but at least I don't know how to end that story otherwise. But yeah, the biggest thing though, obviously, is that
that's a lot more liquid.
Yeah, it's just a lot of liquid, and the whole Monarch's story. To be completely honest, although it was interesting to read, I can 110 see why it was cut. It just,
you know what's funny is
restating stuff you were already seeing. Yeah.
So hearing all that, there's two things that are kind of funny to me. So when I watched this with Jill, her first question was, "Wait, how the fuck they get him on the boat?"
Oh yeah, there's a whole chapter dedicated.
Right, and then second, I thought Kyle Chandler was really underused in this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
He's such a good actor. Find something for him to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing too, we don't need Apex, right?
No.
This whole film, you could have had Monarch be the ones that make Mechagodzilla.
I don't know if that makes as much
But it could have been a splinter group of Monarch or something.
Sure.
It just feels like when you build up Monarch over the course of 3 other films, and they really don't matter in this film.
Yeah.
Like they're there because they have to be.
The origin of Monarch is born in Skull Island. That's Rhonda. So, I mean, that's John Goodman's character.
Right.
And the fact that he gets eaten by that skull crawler is supposed to signify that his second in command takes over. And that's what the whole after credits sequence is that he takes over what Rhonda's vision originally was, is to track down these giant monsters. And you lose that in this film because you don't have that connection to, I think Corey Hawkins' character, I know he was in King of the Monsters, should have been in this. I know it's probably explained in that Kingdom Kong book.
Kong punches Godzilla really hard.
Yeah. And it was great. It's just there could have been even more substance underneath that. But it's still a phenomenal film. Yeah.
I have a note. I saw this with my dad. And his approach to film criticism is interpretive. Did he stay awake the whole time or did he fall asleep?
That's my father as well.
You will be pleased to know that he was awake the entire time.
That's
awesome.
So
that's
Adam Wingard made a banger then.
High praises from my dad.
My dad also goes off that measurement, and by that, Lord of the Rings is a trash franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a lot of stuff to watch. Which
That's my dad, not me, of course.
I would be curious, now that we, I don't know if we're gonna get more MonsterVerse movies, but how would you rank this in the 4 we've gotten so far? PJ?
It's probably my number 2. I think I could make an argument for it being the number 1, but I'm really partial to Skull Island. I think Skull Island is my favorite in the franchise still to this day. This is probably right underneath it, but it's really battling with 2014 because I like both those a lot.
I love 20.
Can somebody tell Haskell to stop asking questions?
Isn't that what you just did?
Yeah, I mean, there's an era of, like, I feel like with these movies, there needs to be an era of you don't need everything explained just because it's giant monsters destroying stuff.
I don't.
But again, that's not. I don't need things explained. I just want more depth of character. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Like you can roll with the ridiculousness. You just want more depth. You can have ridiculous depth.
That's why
it's still depth. Yeah.
That's why, to answer Max, I think Skull Island is the best. It has the most depth between everybody.
I want to run with that point because without going into a whole lot. That's how I feel about Mortal Kombat. Like moving forward, I'm like, you can be ridiculous and nonsensical, but be like deep with your nonsensicalness. Yeah,
it would be great. It's just I again. Even reading through the novelization, there's nothing in there I would have put back in. I mean, opening with a giant squid fight with Godzilla would have been great to establish Godzilla as the alpha male. But I think opening this film with Kong and giving Kong the through line was what it needed to do to give him that arc during the battle and him losing twice. But it would go Skull Island for me, this 2014 Godzilla. And I have my issues with King of the Monsters. I think it's a little too overlong with a lot of fighting that really just could have had a little bit more substance, but it's still
overstuffed and undercooked.
Yeah, that's
this is gonna say a lot about me, but King of the Monsters is still my favorite.
Okay.
Because it's overstuffed and undercooked, and it really reminds me of the older Toho stuff. That like, look, truth be told,
overstuffed and undercooked sounds like college.
Oh well, Max, there's another show for that. But yeah, King of the Monsters to me really epitomizes the big monsters fighting each other that I want of these films.
Mm-hmm.
So King of the Monsters is still my number one, then this one, then Skull Island, and 2014 is fine to me.
It's that Jaws effect. If you want to see a big monster, you're not going to get it for the first 50 minutes.
I think 2014. My issue with 2014, I think it takes itself a little too seriously.
Can I propose an interesting thought process to these 4 movies, maybe?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
I think that each one of them has like a drastically different thing that happens upon rewatching. For me, the 2014 Godzilla worked really well the first time I saw it because I felt the anticipation. Once you know the build up, and you know how long it takes to get there, it doesn't work as a film so much anymore because you're just blue balling for like 2 hours. And then Skull Island, I think when you don't really know what to expect, I think it improves the more you watch it, which is one of the reasons why it's hard for me to rank these movies. I feel like I need to see Skull Island more recently than I have because it's been a couple years and watch them back to back. But like PJ, interchangeable, they're probably the top 2 would be Skull Island and this one. And then maybe I have to rewatch King of Monsters because that's the only one I've only seen once. Everything else I've rewatched.
Oh, it's so good.
It's a fun film. It's just...
I think I started watching it too late. It was like 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and I was like, let's go. Please.
It is very, like, get a move on. Its pacing was all over, though. I think this has the best pacing of the entire thing.
It's tight, but it's almost too tight.
I think that's why this one is so tight, is for that reason specifically.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you, PJ. I think Skull Island's my favorite, and this would be second, but I do really appreciate the self-seriousness of Godzilla 14. I like the slow burn approach, and I still think it has some stunning visuals.
The scale is unmatched.
Yeah, I was just going to say the way it frames Godzilla, so you'll just see his leg in a window, in contrast to the size of the people, you really feel how large he is, and that's impressive. But I like all 4 of these movies, and I think despite being a franchise, they're all very different in tone and approach. They're all directed by different people.
And importantly, they all have different goals.
Yeah, and it felt like, to the credit of Legendary and Warner Brothers, it felt like they let each filmmaker sort of make the film they wanted to make and didn't have to like follow some sort of, checklist of different things they had to achieve or different tonal points. And it works.
I think you could argue that Skull Island has the most unique voice of the franchise.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, it does.
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, I think it's interesting, too, that every one of the filmmakers has come from a very indie background. Like, each one of them came from much smaller films that were very character-driven to get brought up to the big leagues. So it's very interesting because I think each of them was making very different films then, too. Like, none of them are very similar filmmakers, and yet they all feel like they blend together in the right way. Like, even though they're all so different, they definitely feel like the same world, which I think is also impressive. Like, I can't think of many franchises where that many filmmakers have come and gone on each installment that has been as cohesive and as fun.
Yeah.
It's just a good
movie. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Man, this movie freaking rocks, you guys.
I have a final thought. Give me Pacific Rim versus Kong versus Godzilla
versus Tremors.
Which yes,
because the graboids come from Hollow Earth, 100%.
I do also think you can't have now if they're going to make another Godzilla movie with Legendary, with how much they focused on Kong and his emotional gravitas towards the audience. I don't think they can make another Godzilla movie without incorporating Kong into it.
You know what, Chris? That's a great point, but I have to know.
Go for it. Yeah,
Jesse, what are your thoughts on Highlander 2?
Well, the thing about Highlander,
I'm gone. I'm leaving.
Goodbye.
There can only be one, and there is only one.
Great, wonderful.
Yep.
Max, he can stay. He's fine. He doesn't agree with PJ on everything.
What?
Although not Christopher Lambert's best work, because his best work obviously happened in 1990.
However, I think it's like one of the best in Highlander, though.
No.
I don't
Well,
think so.
I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us tonight for our spoiler review of Godzilla vs.
damn it.
Kong.
It's got to be fun to get kicked off your own show.
Well, see, that's the poorly kept secret.
Is it actually the SEAN show?
It's not PJ's network. But yeah, thank you, Jesse, for jumping in with us at the last minute. It was really fun to have you. What do you got going on?
You mean the last 40 minutes?
Yeah, the last 40 minutes. Where can everyone find you online? Promote yourself, as they say.
All right. Well, I don't know if it worked. I tried to send a link in the chat because I'm a shameless plugger.
Put it in the private chat here.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, put it in the private chat, and then one of us can.
I can do everyone else plug first, so I can go over to my page and figure that out. But
all right, Chris, where can everyone find you online? What do you got going on?
You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram at ChrisCluck8788. Those numbers mean nothing. And next Wednesday, we're going to be Sunny Soundtracks is coming back with Off the Record. Me and PLD are going to be going through Innuendo track by track using the usual format. And then more music focused stuff coming up, and I have more announcements, including a special Patreon request and other stuff. I'm just getting all the panels and stuff situated, so it's going to be a fun music ride. So, bada bing, bada boom.
There we go. There's our link. Look, you can find me over at the PJ. Nope, that's here. You can find me on my Twitch channel at Sean Sully or Twitter at SuitUpSully. I am a Schmodown person. I will have a Schmodown thing coming up. And next Friday, don't forget to catch me hosting our premiere show, Show Me Naughty, where we find Rachel Silvestrini true love. Jesse, I'd invite you, but you're not single.
Thank you. I appreciate the invite, despite not being single. But I see that Brandy was doing the hard work for me, so thank you, Brandy, so much.
That's why we pay Brandy the big bucks.
The big bucks. PJ?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at PJ_Campbell. You can find me over at the Movie Trivia Schmodown. Hey, I write the questions. Be nice to the writers. We're only human. And you can find me here hanging out with all these lovely people.
Preach.
And we talk about whatever.
I have to comment on the inappropriate timing of talking about finding love and then throwing Millie Bobby Brown up there. Didn't like it. Please don't do it again.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I think she's just more looking in shock at the
Is that shot in the movie?
Yes, Chris. They're all in the movie.
Oh, okay.
All right, Jesse, what do you got going on?
What? Oh, all that stuff that's in the comment feed right there. You can find me on the Flickin' Reel Fancast. I'm choking on ice. Hang on. There we go. Flickin' Reel Fancast, where we talk movie news, reviews, and daily discourse. We talk about, I almost said Mandalorian. That's been a while. Falcon, Winter Soldier, Marvel stuff, do some Suicide Squad trailer reactions, all that good stuff. Also, find me on Twitter at Jesse Swift or on Stereo. If anyone inspires me to do another Stereo thing, that's at the Jackal. Otherwise, you can find me on Schmodown. I had a Inner Geekdom match a little while ago, and maybe you'll see me again sometime soon. Who knows?
Awesome. You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at Cinemaxwell, Instagram Cinemaxwell Inc. I'm also on Stereo at Cinemaxwell. Jill and I do a show. We're going to be doing episode 2 really soon. I am going to be competing in the FCL. I don't know if I'm going to win the FCL belt because I may be too good, and we'll just end up in the Schmodown soon, where I'm coming for all y'all assholes. And of course, you can find me on the PJ Campbell Network. Thursday night, Front Center Mez is back with our guest Andrew Kober, who has been in so many Broadway shows, and I'm so excited to talk with him. He is awesome.
Very
Next
cool.
Tuesday, Book Nook is back, and we're being joined by Danny Ramirez, sort of a crossover event with her show Watch the Book. We'll be talking about both the book and the film Never Let Me Go. Breaking them each down, doing a comparison and contrast. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That just lost a match.
I know.
Movie just lost a match.
I'm aware. I knew the answer.
Of course you did.
On behalf of all of us at the PJ Campbell Network, thank you for unwinding with us tonight. If you haven't seen it already, go watch Godzilla vs. Kong. It is a blast. And we will see you next time for whatever nonsense we cook up. What was that?
What just happened?
Hi, guys.
What are you doing, Sean?
Playing the outro.
Wait.
Look at Jesse dancing though.
Please leave this office.
Do we get any sort of souvenir?
Get out of my office!
I'll be back. I gotta pay.
Throw me a frickin' bone here. I'm the boss. Need the info.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Heavy is the head that eats the crayons. I'm gonna take a nap. See you in 10 hours.
Dude, I almost had you. You almost had me. You never had me.
I like your style, dude.
And move on.
This pillow is fucking useless.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Box, the exciting show where we open a box and decide if the box rocks or if it's a box full of rocks.
I don't know if this is going to be a good episode.
Can we make on this pillow is fucking useless shirt?
Yeah.